Hello friends, so today we're gonna discuss the Ad Coder Beginner Contest 166. The problems in this contest are a little bit simpler, so we will discuss the top 4 questions in this video. So let's begin. The first question statement states that the Ad Coder incorporation holds a contest every Saturday. There are two types of contests called ABC and ARC, okay, and just one of them is held at a time. The company holds these two types of contests alternatively. So an ARC follows by an ABC and vice versa. So given a string S representing the type of contest held last week, print the string representing the contest that will be held today. Okay. So as you know, if ABC contest is held last week, then this week we will have ARC, and if ARC is held last week, we will have ABC. So this is a simple code. We don't have to do anything much. So what we will do is we will input a string S, and then what we'll do is we will just check if S is equal to ABC. It means that ABC is held last week, then we will held ARC this week, else we will held ABC. Okay. Let's check it and we will run to the next question. Okay. Next question statement states that n snooks called snook 1, snook 2 till snook n lives in a town. There are k kind of snacks sold by this town. Okay, called snack 1, snack 2, snack till snack k. Okay, so ABC will input A, B, C, and ARC. Okay, let's submit this. So now the following DI snooks have the snacks AI1, AI2. So the thing is, the DI snook has these snacks. Takashi will walk around this town and make mischief of all the snooks who have no snacks. So how many snooks will fall under the victim to Takashi mischief? Okay. So if you clearly observe the input format, you will see that they have given n, k, and then like the dth one snack is available with these snooks. So you have to find out which snook doesn't have any type of snack. I hope you understand the logic. If you see the input, it will be more clear to you. So you have to find out snooks which do not have any type of snacks. So as you can see, if there are three types of snooks and two types of snacks, so the first snack is present at with snook 1 and snook 3, and the second snack is only present with snook 3. But as you can see, snook 2, as you can see, snook 2 has no snacks. So there is only one type of snook who has no snacks. So you have to print out the frequency of how many snooks doesn't have any types of snack. Okay, so that's the main logic. Let's write this code rightly. So what we will have to do is basically find out the number of snooks. So the input consisting of n and k, you will take the input of n and k, and then uh, you will make a vector for each snook. Because there are total of n snooks, you will make a vector of n. Then you will iterate over int I equal to 0, because there are k types of like candies or snacks. So then take input of d. It means like the dth snack is present by how many snooks. So then what we'll do is we'll make a loop from j equal to 0, j is less than d, j plus plus, and then we input x, and we reduce its index, because we have make the vector for snooks from 0 to n minus 1, and the candies, the second candy is like the first candy is present at these two snooks 1 and 3. So like we can subtract one so that we can put them directly in the indices, like this is the 0th snook, this is the second snook, and then what we'll do is if a of x plus plus, so we'll add that, like this is the snook which has this candy. Okay, So when we come out of this loop, what we'll do is we will make a total variable which stores how many snooks has no candy, I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and if a of I is equal to 0, total plus plus, and you have to just print out total. Okay, let's run this. The next question is pretty much interesting and you will like it. The question statement states that there are n observatories. Okay, let's submit this. Answer is 1. Okay, let's directly submit this. So this one is accepted, as you can see. This one is running. Okay. The question statement states that there are n observatories in at Coder Hills called observation 1, observation 2, and observation L. The elevation of these observatories is h of I. Okay. And there are m roads is connecting two different observatories. Okay, so there are m roads which connect two observatories, observatory AJ and observatory BJ. Okay, observatory I is called good. So these are the categories. You have the observatory is called good when its elevation is higher than those of all the observatories that can be reached from observatory I using one road. So this is one line. So if you can reach another observatory from observatory I and observatory I has a height more than all the observatories which can be reached from observatory I to other observatories using one road, then it's good. Also, you can see observatory I is also good when no other observatory can be reached from observatory I using one road. So if you cannot reach observatory I using any of the roads, then it's also good. So there are two conditions. Okay, so you have to find out how many observatories are good. So you will get more clear if I draw this. Okay, so there are 4 observatories with these heights. Okay, so there is one observatory. Okay, let's change the color. Okay, so there is one observatory of height 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the next one is 2. The other one is 3. Other one is the last one is 4. And there is road connecting 1 and 3. 1 and 3 are connected. 2 and 3 are connected. And 2 and 4 are connected. So 2 and 4 are connected. Okay. So these are the roads which connect these observatories. So if you have to check for each observatory if there is a single road which connect any other observatory and if its height is greater than. So if the height of this observatory is greater than all the observatories which are connected by a single road, so then it's good. As you can see in this, because there is only one observatory and is connected to this and its height is less than this, so this is not a good observatory. Okay, this observatory connects to this and its height is less than both, so it's also not good observatory. Third observatory connects to this and its height is more than 2 and 1, so yeah, this is a good observatory. So you have to find out how many roads it connect and the height of those observatories. If all the heights of all those observatories are less than this height, then it's good. And the fourth one is only connected to 2 and its height is less, so its height is more, so this is also good observatory. So the answer should be 2, as you can see. Okay, but what about the second condition? If there is also one observatory 5 which is not connected by any other observatory, then it also good. So they have also said that, note that if observatory I is also good when no observatory can be reached from observatory I. As you can see, no observatory can be reached from observatory I. We cannot go to observatory I, so it is also good. So in this case there are 5, and if we exclude this, the answer is 2. Okay, so I hope you understand the logic. But there is, so you can just make an adjacency list of all the nodes and like iterate over them. But there's one catch. You can see, if we make this observatory and we check that it is connected to 3 and we check this height and this height, and we said that its height is less than this height. So if it's bad, then obviously this will be good with respect to this, so we don't have to check this again. So if for this node we check that this is bad and this is good with respect to this node, but when we come to this node we will again check like with respect to this is bad and this is good. Why are we checking it twice? So for only one case we will check like this is good and this is bad. Okay, so what we can easily do is we can make two vectors for each node, and each value stores how many nodes are connected to it, like how many cities are there or how many roads are there at each node. So this has only one node connected, the second one has two roads connected, this has two roads connected, the last one has like one road connected, and this one has zero road connected. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so this one is like empty. And then what will we do is that for each node we will just push it the adjacency list of this node that this is connected to this. Okay, so when we are moving through the adjacency list of this, then what we'll see, like this is smaller than this, so it means that this is greater than this, so it means we have found one road in which this is greater than this, so we'll remain this at 0 and we increment the number of roads or number of roads for which this is greater. So for third we'll make it 1. Now for 2, so let's assume there is only one path which says 1 is connected to 3, 2 is connected to 3. Okay, 1 is connected to 3, 2 is connected to 3, and 2 is connected to 4. So for this we only check for 1 2 3 and we'll make this 0 and make this 1. For 2 we will check only like 2 is smaller than 3, so it means 3 is greater than 2. So there are two roads for which 3 is greater and 2 is smaller. So actually this has to come here because this is 2 for this. This is 4. Okay, so I hope you understand. And then what we'll do is then we'll check for this 2 and 4, and for 2 and 4 as we can see this is 4 is greater than 2, so we will also make this 1, and 5 remains 0 and all of the rest remains 0. Now as you can see there are two entries which has the same value, which means there are two roads, total number of two roads connecting 3, and all of the two roads says that 3 is greater, which means yeah, this is a good observatory. For this as we can see this says that there is only one road to 4 and the fourth entry is greater, so we are good to go. This is saying that there is no road to 5 and there is no connection, so like this is also good, so we have counted out. So I hope you understand. So we will just make an adjacency list and we will just push back this directed edge from 1 to 3. We will not make it both sides, but when we are checking at this road we will check it at both ends at the same time. It will be more clear from the code. Okay, so like there can be multiple ways to approach this question, but like I have done at this way. So what you'll need is you'll need an adjacency list, so you can make vector okay, then you'll need a vector to store the heights, and then you'll also have to store a vector to store how many roads are connected to each node to connect. Now what you'll do is you will enter n and m, enter n and m, and then you will iterate over the n observatories and store its height. Okay, then what will you do is you will have to make fill the entries of this adjacency matrix. I equal to 0, I less than equal to m, because there are m rows. You will take a and b, input a and b, and then, like, because they are from 1, indexed 1, we will make it from 0. So a minus minus, b minus minus, and which I have told you, I will only push a in the adjacency matrix of A. We will just push B, not both ways, so as to just slow down the like increase the computation power. And because now A has connected this road, so we will mark the connect to both, because this means that A is also connected. There is a road between A and B, so it means we have to increase the count of both A and B. Okay, you have to come out of this loop, and then what we'll do is we have to find out total number of observatories which are good. We'll make a vector answer which will, okay, so what we'll do is we will iterate over the adjacency list. So first iterate over all the observatories, and for all observatories iterate over its adjacency list. So in j equal to 0, j is less than adj of I dot size j plus plus. Okay, so if height of ith, which means the, because we have talked about the first one, because we're iterating over each observatories and checking its adjacency list for every other adjacent observatories which are connected by them through a road. So if that height is greater than its adjacency matrix value of I, then answer I plus plus. Else if h of I is less than, then answer of, okay, so these are the conditions, and then we will just come out of this loop, and we will now iterate over all the observatories, and we have two conditions. If answer of I is equal to the current of I, which I have told you, so this is the current matrix, and this is the answer matrix, the, like, so answer vector, and this is the current vector. So if the current of I is equal to answer of I, as you can see, if both are same, or there can be a case such that connect of I is 0 and answer of I is equal to 0, then we just increase total, and in the end we'll see output. Let's run this and we'll move on to the last question. So given a pair of integers a and b such that a to the power 5 minus b to the power 5 is equal to x, it is guaranteed that there exists such a pair for the given integer x. So you are given an x and you have to find out a pair a and b such that a to the power 5 minus b to the power 5 is equal to x. Okay, and you have to just find out that pair. So though this question seems hard, but it's very simple. Okay, so how many iterations can you do in a second? 10 to the power 6, which is like 10 to the power 3 into 10 to the power 3. So we can also make it a multiple of n. So if we just do an iteration of 2 into 10 to the power 3 or like 4, 10, it will be done in 1 second by the given constraints. So because now total was not declared. Okay, so now because if we want a very large number such that it is 10 to the power 9. Okay. We'll also compile it for the for this. We'll also take for this. Okay, cool. Okay, so now we have to find out this pair. So if we do an iteration from minus 2000 to 2000 for A and for B, it will be this only 4000, 4 divided by 3 iterations because the difference between is 4000, and for A and for B, and this can be done in the given time exchange. So if we like do a power of this 2 into the power 3 to the power 5, and if we subtract this from, like, just make it one less, it is just helping us to find out the difference between two numbers, and it will be more than 10 to the power, like it is around 10 to the power 13. It is way large. Also if we just make it, if we like make a minus b and we make this 10 to the power like 2000, it will be like very large number. It will be like around 10 to the power 16, as you can see. And then if we subtract, so if we make this to 2000, this can go, if like this number can be minus 2000, 10 to the power 5, and then the number will become humongous, very large. If it's 0, then the number is 10 to the power 16. So we will always found out a pair if we iterate over these combinations. I hope you understand. So the number, and there's always a pair that will exist for this x. It is given in the question. So we just have to do a brute force. So this is one observation. If you observe this in this question, then the question becomes very easy. So what you will just have to do is, you will take the input for x, and then for long I equal to minus 2000, I is less than equal to 2000, I plus plus, for long j is equal to minus 2000, j is less than equal to 2000, j plus plus, and we have to find out the two numbers. Long a is equal to I into I and then if a minus b is equal to x, what we have to return this number I, and just return out. Also check this. This is a very simple code to understand it. Okay. You just have to find out the observation. It's just a bottleneck, brute force. It's giving correct answer. Submit this. As you can see, all the rest ABC are correct. Now this one is compiling. It's also executed. It's also correct. I hope you understand all the 4 questions. If you still have any doubts, please mention down. Thank you for watching this video, and I will upload the rest of the videos very fast. If you have any doubts, please mention down. Hit the subscribe button and like button if you like this video. I'll see you in the next one.